Long ago, when the earth was still young with stories and the moon listened closely to the voices of men, there was a village surrounded by tall baobab trees, winding footpaths, and fields that stretched like green cloth beneath the sun. In that village lived a boy named Kojo. Kojo was not born into wealth. His family lived in a small mud house with a thatched roof that whispered when the wind passed through the grass. His father was a farmer, and his mother sold smoked fish and vegetables in the village market, but although Kojo's family had little, the boy possessed something that many wealthy men did not, a sharp and thoughtful mind. Kojo watched everything. He listened when elders spoke under the moonlight. He observed how traders measured their goods. That he noticed when goats escaped weak fences and when crops grew best near the riverbanks. The elders often said, "The child who listens today becomes the elder who speaks tomorrow." And when they spoke of Kojo, they would shake their heads with wonder and say, "Inside that boy's head lives tomorrow." Not far from Kojo's home stood the great compound of Nana Bidiako, the richest man in the entire region. His compound had high mud walls decorated with white chalk patterns. The gate was wide enough for caravans of traders and their donkeys to enter. Inside were many rooms, large granaries, cattle pens, and storehouses filled with cocoa, cola nuts, palm oil, and cloth from distant lands. Nana Bidiako owned many farms and employed many servants, but although he had wealth, Nana Bidiako's heart was hard like sun-baked clay. He believed that his riches were proof that he was wiser than everyone else, and because of this, he rarely listened to anyone. One year, the rains failed, Kojo's father's crops dried in the fields. The maize stalks turned yellow before their time, and the cassava roots grew thin and weak. Food became scarce, so Kojo's parents made a difficult decision: go and serve in Nana Bidiako's house. His mother told him gently. Work hard. Learn what you can. One day your wisdom will carry you far. Kojo bowed his head respectfully, and so the boy went to serve in the house of the richest man in the village, the boy who worked like 3 men. From the first day, Kojo worked harder than anyone else. Before the rooster crowed, he was already awake sweeping the courtyard. He fetched water from the river. He cleaned the granaries. He helped count sacks of cocoa and baskets of cola nuts. But Kojo did not only work with his hands, he worked with his mind. When he noticed that rats were spoiling the stored grain, he designed better storage baskets. When traders tried to cheat Nana Bidiako in the market, Kojo quietly pointed out the tricks they were using. When some workers argued, he found ways to settle their disputes before they became fights. Little by little, the rich man's household ran more smoothly because of the boy, but Nana Bidiako never thanked him, not once. Whenever something went well, Nana Bidiako praised himself. "My wisdom brings prosperity," he would boast, but whenever something went wrong, he blamed the servants, and Kojo, despite all his hard work, was often the one who received the harshest words. One day Kojo reorganized the storehouse so that older food would be used before it spoiled. Instead of thanking him, Nana Bidiako frowned. "Who told you to move my goods?" he snapped. Another day Kojo warned him about a group of dishonest traders passing through the village, but Nana Bidiako waved him away. "You are only a boy," he said. "Do not pretend to understand the business of men." Yet weeks later, those same traders cheated Nana Bidiako and vanished. Still, the rich man never admitted that Kojo had been right. Years passed. Kojo grew taller, his shoulders grew strong, but his patience slowly grew thin. One evening, after a long day of work, Nana Bidiako accused Kojo of losing a sack of cocoa beans. The boy knew he had done nothing wrong, but the rich man shouted at him before the other servants, "Useless boy." Nana Bidiako barked. "Without my house you would be nothing." Kojo said nothing. That night he walked outside the compound and sat beneath the oldest baobab tree in the village. The moon hung above him like a watchful eye. In the distance, drums from another village echoed softly through the night. Kojo thought about the years he had spent serving a man who did not see his worth. At last he spoke quietly to himself. "Where wisdom is not valued, wisdom must learn to walk away." The next morning, Kojo thanked the other servants for their kindness. Then he left Nana Bidiako's compound forever. When people heard where Kojo had gone, many laughed. Instead of seeking another rich household, he went to serve Kojo Mensa, a humble farmer who owned only a small farm, a few goats, and a tiny house at the edge of the village. Compared to Nana Bidiako's wealth, Kojo Mensa seemed almost poor, but what he lacked in riches, he possessed in something far greater. When the farmer first met the boy, he welcomed him warmly. "My son," Kojo Mensa said, "I cannot promise riches. But in this house every person's voice is respected." Kojo felt something in his chest that he had never felt before. The farm was small, the tools were simple, but Kojo began to apply his clever mind. He suggested planting different crops in different seasons. He built better fences to protect the goats. He organized the storage of yams and maize so that none would spoil. Kojo Mensa listened carefully to every suggestion. "Let us try it," he would say. Soon the farm began to prosper. Their harvests grew larger. They began selling extra crops in nearby villages. With the profits, they bought more land, then more goats, then oxen for plowing. Kojo's ideas did not stop at farming. He realized that traders traveling between villages often lacked reliable partners, so he helped Kojo Mensa begin trading grain and palm oil across neighboring towns. Soon they were sending caravans carrying cloth, spices, cocoa, and kola nuts to distant regions. Kojo's wisdom guided every decision, and Kojo Mensa always gave him credit. "This young man," the farmer would say proudly, "has the mind of a chief." Years passed like water flowing through a river. The small farm became a large enterprise. Caravans traveled across forests and savannas. Trading houses opened in distant kingdoms. Ships carried their goods across great waters. Wherever people traded, they spoke the name Kojo. The boy who once swept courtyards had become a man whose wisdom built wealth greater than anyone had imagined. Eventually, Kojo became known as the richest man in the world, but despite his great wealth, he never forgot the lessons of humility and gratitude. And he never forgot the people who had respected him when he had nothing. Many years later, Kojo returned to the village where his journey had begun, but much had changed. Nana Bidyako's compound no longer shone with the glory it once had. Poor decisions, dishonest partners, and pride had slowly drained his fortune. The once rich man now sat quietly beneath a tree, his wealth gone like morning mist. When he saw the long procession approaching the village, caravans, servants, and traders, he wondered who the powerful visitor might be. Then he saw the man leading them, and recognition filled his tired eyes. "Kojo," he whispered, "you once served in my house." Kojo bowed respectfully. "Yes, Nana. I once served here." The old man sighed deeply. "I had gold in my compound and did not know it." Kojo smiled gently, then he replied with the wisdom life had taught him. "A seed cannot grow where it is not watered." The moral of the story: from that day forward, the elders of the village told this story whenever young people gathered around the evening fire. They would end the tale with these words: "Never despise a person because they are young or poor. The one you ignore today may become the giant of tomorrow." And so the story of Kojo, the boy who was never valued, traveled from village to village, carried by storytellers, reminding people that wisdom, when respected, can grow greater than gold.